Quick question. A seller looks you dead in the eye and says, well, my neighbor just got more for their house. Now, what does that do to your face right then? Yep, that face right there. And normally what happens isn't that pretty, right? I mean, you start pulling out the comps and over explaining the pricing, and somewhere in there, you stop being the expert that they hired and start sounding like someone that's trying to talk them out of what they already believe. Now, here's the thing very few people are telling you when you get your real estate license. Sellers are not pushing back because they think you're necessarily wrong. See, they're pushing back because their house is their home. There is a sentimental and emotional attachment to that thing. So when you write down a value for their property on a piece of paper, oftentimes it can feel like a verdict on their entire life. So when a seller gets difficult, that is not your cue to get defensive. See, that's when you open up your AI tool. So today I'm not going to be handing you 5 speeches like a script to memorize. I'm going to be handing you 5 prompts, the exact ones that I would use myself for seller moments that can make any new agent begin to sweat buckets, right? So let's go. Hi, I'm Bill. This is your AI Partners, where we help brand new real estate agents use simple AI workflows to follow up faster and sound more confident and stop losing deals because the conversations get a little awkward. Now, we're not here to replace your company's CRM. We're not some fancy automation platform, and we're certainly not some coaching program with a 4-digit price tag and a wait list that's longer than closing day paperwork. You see, we're that jumpstart, that thing that you grab today. Cheap, simple, zero learning curve that hands you a prompt that the second a seller conversation gets uncomfortable, you're prepared. You see, we're the training wheels and not the whole bike. Now, here's what you're going to walk away with today. 5 moments in which new agents often freeze, but you're going to have an exact AI prompt that you can type in that will help you deal with that. And we'll explain why it's built that way and also how to tweak that output so it sounds more like you and not like a robot. 5 moments, 5 prompts. Let's deal with them one at a time. Moment number 1, the neighbor comparison. You know, my neighbor just got more for their house. 6 words, and for many agents, they go straight into defense mode, you know. So you break out the spreadsheets and the details on square footage. I mean, you begin to give that cross-examination energy. I mean, the goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to win their trust. So you can build a prompt that can help you in this conversation, in this moment. So you would copy and paste something that goes something like this. Write a short, calm response that I can say to a seller who just compared the listing price of their neighbor's higher sales price. My seller's home is, and you give the address and the price. The neighbor's sales price was, give their address and price. But the real differences are, and then here in the brackets, you would list like conditions and upgrades and timings and things along that nature, and acknowledge their feelings first, then pivot to specific differences. Not generic reassurances. Give me a spoken version I can say loud in that moment, and a short text version that I can send afterwards that puts the same information in writing. Here's why this prompt is built this way. The first thing it does is it tells AI to deal with the feelings of the seller before it deals with a single number. Because you see, your seller is not debating the math. He's processing that gut punch that you just gave him. And nobody wants to deal with a lecture on square footage while they're trying to catch their breath from that gut punch. Number 2, and this is the part that trips a lot of people, it is asking for real differences, not some mushy, well, every house is different type of thing, right? Sellers can hear that line coming from a mile away even before the sentence is finished. Something like their kitchen got redone 2 years ago and yours hasn't. Now that actually means something. And lastly, it asks AI for a version that you can say out loud and one that you can text afterwards, because you only get one shot at the conversation, but the follow-up, you see, that's where you can make it stick. You swap in the real numbers, the neighbor's price, the actual differences, whatever is true specific to that listing. Now, you don't want to get lazy in this part, right? Because vague input is always going to give you vague output every time. So then you run this thing once and you'll have something that you can say almost verbatim, without having to rehearse it. So what the seller might hear is something like, I get why that stings. It's hard not to compare. Can I show you 3 details about the sale that don't show up in the headline numbers? But that's it. You're not memorizing a script. You're building the same response every single time in about 1 minute with actual facts plugged in. Moment number 2, why hasn't anyone made an offer? See, now that's a sneaky one because it sounds like it's a complaint on you, but usually it isn't. It's a seller, that's literally just watching the days tick by, quietly panicking that something is either wrong with their home or their choice of an agent. So vague reassurance aren't going to work to fix that, right? But the data will. See, so you create a prompt that is built around the data to support your position. So you would write something like this. You would copy and paste this, and then you would tweak it to your situation. Write an update that I can send a seller whose home hasn't received an offer yet. Their home is, and then you put in the address, listed for X number of days with X number of showings so far. And feedback trends are, and then whatever you've been hearing back, you want to put those in the brackets. Lead with real data instead of vague reassurances, and end by offering 2 options for the next 2 weeks. Give me a text version and a slightly longer email version. Now, notice what this refuses to do. It will not let the AI just hand you something like, the market's just slow right now, right? That sentence has never once made any seller feel better about their situation. It just makes them wonder if you actually know what's going on. So instead, you're going to feed in real numbers like showing count and whatever feedback that keeps showing up again and again. Pricing and condition and location, staging, whatever it is. That one detail is the difference between an update that feels like it's earned and one that feels like it's a form letter. So what that seller might hear, right, is something like, here's what we're actually seeing, showings, feedback trends, and what that actually means at this moment at this stage. Want me to walk you through 2 options next 2 weeks. You see, a seller who feels informed stays a client. A seller who feels ignored, well, they call around to other agents. Moment number 3, delivering that rough buyer feedback. The buyer has said something rough about your client's kitchen, and now you're the one who has to tell the seller, right? So we all know the messenger is the one who gets shot. So it is your choice. I mean, do you soften it so that it's mush, your response, and useless, or do you blurt it out with the potential of offending your seller? Because neither is going to work, right? So you don't want to freestyle it, you want to prompt it. So you might want to write something like this and copy and paste it. So you write something like this. Write feedback that I can give a seller after showing where the buyer has 1 negative comment. The buyer likes, and you list those positive comments, but has 1 concern, and you list that concern. Structure it as something positive first, the honest concern stated plainly, and then framed as fixable, not a deal breaker. Give me a version that I can say out loud in short recap text for afterwards. Give me a version I can say out loud in a short recap text version for afterwards. So this one lives and dies on the structure. So that's exactly what the prompt locks in. Something good first, the actual concern stated plainly, and then landing on fixable, not fatal. So if you skip that structure, you're going to get one of 2 disasters. You're going to soften it so that the seller doesn't even realize there's anything wrong, or you're just going to blurt it out and make the seller feel like they just got sucker punched once again. But neither one's going to help. Telling the AI flat out fixable, not deal breaker, is what keeps it from turning that ugly countertop, which is the complaint of the potential buyer, into a reason why the whole deal begins to fall apart. Left on its own, AI will absolutely catastrophize if you let it. You get the spoken version plus the recap version, so the seller hears it once and still has a writing to go back to. Drop in the actual compliment and the actual concern from the real feedback. Don't paraphrase it into something vaguer than what it needs to be. See, that specificity is what makes this sound like something that actually happened instead of a script that you found online. So what the seller may be hearing is the buyer loved the layout. The one thing that gave them pause was the kitchen counters. That's a fixable detail, not a deal breaker. You see, that structure turns a punch in the gut into a plan of action. Moment number 4. Why should I list with a new agent? See, this one is different because the mistake isn't what the seller may say, it's something that you might say back. New real estate agents here, you're new, and they either want to apologize for existing at all or overselling themselves sounding desperate. The fix is a prompt with guardrails built in it. So you may want to copy and paste a prompt like this. Write a confident response to a seller who points out that I am a new real estate agent, but acknowledge it honestly, then pivot to what that means to them. So you may want to copy and paste a prompt like this. Write a confident response to a seller who points out that I'm a new real estate agent. Acknowledge it honestly, then pivot to what that means to them. Full attention, fast response time, and a marketing plan that I'm going to walk through with them step by step, backed by my brokerage firm. Keep the tone confident, not apologetic, and not oversold.